And you know, I was going to ask you about something before we took a break. I see Cummins being banned right now, but Cummins got a little bit nerfed in the current patch as well. Like the discount is no longer 100 wood, it's 75 wood. Do you think that's a strong enough nerf to, you know, affect their very strong early game, or is it still strong enough to grant like an early ban like this?
I don't think it's that big of a nerf, honestly. You still save a lot of wood. I think humans are one of those civs where they're just awful to play against. So I can understand why you ban them, honestly.
Right.
Um, I can't seem to load into the game. Are you having the same problem?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it just says waiting until the game starts, but it never does. Gonna see if they
Maybe
have
they've not
another
actually
ID.
started. Maybe they're just in the lobby and they've not.
No, because oh wait, maybe. No, I think when you try to spectate into a match that's still in the lobby, it just bumps you into the lobby.
No, I think no, because they're not. They've not. Hmm.
Okay, let me
I'm
go
watching
back
Mem's
and
stream and
check.
he's not in the game either. So
Yeah, in the spectate games tab, I cannot find it anymore. Oh, I can see it in the lobby browser. Yeah, true. You're correct.
okay, I'm in now. It's working. It's working.
Well, they are in game now?
They are in game, yes.
Oh boy, okay. Alright, I'm
And we're
jumping into
finally
it.
seeing a civ that I think is probably one of the best on this Arabia, which is exciting for sure. Um,
There we go. Alright, so game number 1 in the next series is already here. Miguel versus Villese. I should probably update the stream title. Do you want to talk about the civilizations?
yeah, of course. So we're seeing one of my personal favorites for this Arabia, Tatars against Malians. A very interesting matchup, and one that I would say is probably on this Arabia quite heavily favored for Tatars, especially with the nerf and slight, maybe arguable buff in some situations for the Malians, where they have lost the gold mining upgrade, but they have also been given longer lasting gold mines.
Yeah.
But I just think in this matchup specifically, having the extra food on the sheep and having that hill bonus to do 25% more damage is just so strong, so potent. For example, if we have a look at Miguel's map, just every resource, there's a hill on it,
Yeah.
choose yeah, like, nowhere he goes is he going to be able to escape from the hill bonus. But that being said, there are definitely some potential for Malians. Like if you get to fall for Imber Camel, for example, that can be quite hard for Tatars to deal with, not having that many upgrades on their halbs. So yeah, there are
Right.
definitely some options for Malians, but I think Tatars are stronger.
I agree with that. Yeah, and the hill generation is going to play a huge role over here as well. As you were saying, Miguel's got all the resources affected by hills, and even some of these extra woodlands that he's got forward, for instance, they are behind the hills even, so that'll be like super hard to take from. He's gonna be banking probably on the back woodlands, which means he needs to protect these, which means he's gonna need to wall. He's gonna have to go for some greedier walls over here, probably. I think maybe go for walls around the woodlines, the two on the back. What do you think? Or maybe not around the left ones, the left hand side
Oh,
one,
I
maybe
see
just
what you
connect them
mean.
one.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem, yeah, I think that hill, see by the stone,
But
and
the
the
so
gold, I think that's the biggest problem.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because I think you can save the woodline that he's taking with walls to the edge of the map and in front
Right.
of the berries, but you can't like walling that stone out would be so hard. I don't really see how he's going to be able to do that. But I guess we'll see. We'll see how he tries to wall this.
Right. What would you do to try and protect that stone? You would have to get a castle. Do you have enough space for a TC over there even? I think you do.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh man, so you kind of have to go for a castle, maybe towers. And then where's the other stone? The other stone is on the back. It's kind of far away. Maybe he would be able to protect that one. No, it's too far away. I guess he would be able to take from it without going or going unnoticed maybe, but yeah, there's going to be a huge issue not only for the stone but also for the gold, as you were saying.
Yeah, I think this is the problem, right, with this matchup. It's just because Towers almost always get off to a good start. Oh, we're seeing a really early rush for Villese. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Pre-mode rush, not something we've seen too often in the King of the Desert so far, but let's see. He's not scouted Miguel just yet, and Miguel is about to scout this straight away, so this is perfect for Miguel. Like this is good. This is what Marlians need. They need a little bit of good fortune. They need some good scouting, and now he knows he can react perfectly. He's reacting with his own barracks. I guess he's going to rush himself.
Okay.
And yeah, I think this is a good opening for Miguel.
He's not keeping track of the militias though, so he won't know where they're coming from necessarily, and Villese has got the scout forward himself, so he's gonna get some vision, and he could potentially find more than one angle to attack from over here. However, Miguel's already going for some walls around the resources, namely the berries.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, right? Is that even though he doesn't know where they're coming from, if he just walls his villagers in, he's also fine.
Yeah.
The question is he drushing himself? No, so
no.
Miguel's going for men-at-arms.
Yeah. Yeah. Returns archers, I assume.
Yes.
Villese, what is he gonna try? His map generation, if I might say, I like it a lot better than Miguel's. Like, I feel like it's much more straightforward to wall out, and I feel like he could potentially secure one of the wool lines over here on the back, potentially even more than one. He's going for the walls towards the wool line to the right hand side, but then he could potentially go for walls from the barracks to the edge of the map and protect this wool line on the back as well.
Yeah, honestly, I hate the way Villese is walling, but I understand it at the same time. I think, honestly, walling like this, I think is on these maps especially is really bad. Like these MBL style walls, because what ends up happening is you just get squeezed for space. Ideally, you want to have an approach that you end up doing the Viper wall. So, for example, you see this wood line to the left of his gold.
Yes.
In Villese's base. You want to wall from that to the edge of the map, or the edge by that wood line on the right hand side.
I think so too.
And then you protect the gold.
Yeah, exactly. And because you're going to be collecting from the gold as well, you can also protect the walls with villagers too, which is pretty handy.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it doesn't only protect the gold; it protects the wood as well. So you have a wood line that's completely secure. But I can understand why he's not doing that, because the men-at-arms are coming in, right? So there's a reason he's not doing that, which makes it understandable. That being said, that scout can deny the walls. This could be quite tricky.
Let's see. Yeah. He already pushed the villager out, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to break through the house here. What is it? Okay, so yeah, Villese is already going for some walls over here towards the DC, so maybe Miguel was expecting something like this. He was not going to, like, Villese was not going to let him just go around and come in. But it seems like he's given up on his chance over here. He's not going around. If there was an opening over there, he wouldn't be able to find it. He's just gonna keep on trying to break through here.
Yeah, and honestly, I really like the opening already for Miguel. I think he's done a great job. This map is already so awkward for him. Like the opening has forced Villese into walling his map in a really suboptimal way, and Villese really didn't do any damage with his militia, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, and he's coming back actually, so he can protect himself. Oh man,
yeah.
that house is going down. Remember, they don't have quite as much melee armor anymore.
I love that change, by the way. That's something that I've been asking for a house for the longest time.
It's awesome. There we go.
Oh, really nice though from Villese to send the villagers out to guarantee the fight win. And the hill bonus. Okay. Oh, really nice micro from both pairs actually. Really nice decision making there.
It's been a fantastic opening already.
Yeah, it had. This is two players really. I mean, except for that 290 farm in Miguel's base, two players really playing at a high level.
For sure. Now he should be able to wall himself back up again. There is an archer over here though from Miguel, so Villese is going for his own archers, but it's going to take some time. He's going for the second archer range. For the time being, it's going to take the engagement, and it seems like the village is going down. Not quite. Good job.
This is a great fight, isn't it? Oh no. Oh yes, one villager down. Yeah, this is perfect for Miguel. This is really tricky for Villese now. Is there a blacksmith coming up? Yeah, blacksmith's coming up now for Miguel, and it's
Uh-huh.
only just being started by Villese.
Oh
So there
man, that
should be a
villager.
timing here where Miguel has fletching and
And
Villese
Villese
doesn't.
doesn't. Yeah, there was a villager almost going down over there. Villese just scanned the siege, sorry, the blacksmith up himself, and yeah, you're correct. Miguel's only 10 seconds away from getting fletching. Villese won't, but Miguel does not have any archers for it anymore. He's got 3 over here, but Villese has got more numbers, so it's gonna push him away.
Yeah, and honestly, you just have to respect how well Miguel has played this game. Honestly, I mean, he had a worse map, but he had perfect scouting, right? And he managed to do some good damage.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Villese has done a good job stabilizing. It's whether or not Miguel can, continue putting the pressure on, or if
Right.
he's just going to kind of be content with the damage he's done.
How much do you think it would have impacted the game if Miguel was sending the scout to the north as opposed to the south and he hadn't spotted the barracks?
Oh, massively. If he doesn't scout that barracks in time, then it can kind of snowball, right? If you even have your berries idled, like the difference is huge, especially when you're doing a build as tight as Men at Arms. It's like it was really important that he got that scouting off, because again, the one thing you don't want to happen against Tatters is you get behind in the early game, because they're just going to hit that cast stage timing even harder, and that's something that you can't allow, because they're just so strong when they get thumbering for free early cast stage and the hill bonus.
Right.
Oh, is that a good fight? Pretty even
Yeah.
trade there, I think.
Yeah, it's not bad. He managed to get a few units down. I think he might be able to get another one over here, which is pretty good, against Tarsus. It could definitely have been a lot worse over there. It could probably have been a little bit better by the end. He ended up losing all the archers without taking a single unit down anymore, but now I think he might be able to get more.
Do you know what else is super interesting? Miguel just built a market and sold a stone.
Oh, true.
And you know what? I love that, because he's thinking in the game kind of the same way that I am, in that he's thinking, okay, when is my opponent strong, and when am I weak? And he realizes, okay, he's weak when his opponent gets to cast stage. And in theory, Villese should get cast stage first. So he's thinking to himself, okay, I'm gonna sell. And if I compete with the cast stage time, I can get to the time where I'm strong, which is kind of, maybe mid to late cast stage and probably early imp with Furimba Camel. So really intelligent play. The interesting thing though is Villese doesn't really care about his cast stage time. He's getting wheelbarrow and he's getting +1 defense. So like Villese is more focusing on the feudal age. So we're gonna see if maybe that approach is gonna lead to any damage.
Oh, I don't know, man. Miguel's about to finish the walls up in the north over there, and he's completely walled up everywhere. Unless he's missed a spot anywhere, I think he should be able to get to the castle age fairly comfortably. Like, the goal is too far away from the blacksmith, the market, and the walls over there. So I think he's protected. Like, he's got the wood safe on the back as well. I think he should be able to get there, no problem.
Yeah, I think it would be dangerous if Villese saw this army of Miguel and just sent everything to deal with it. Well, okay, we're gonna pick up an archer there. But otherwise, I think this is great for Miguel, right?
Yeah, it should be. This is not too far behind though. It's gonna be clicking up in just a little bit. It's probably going to be a 1-minute lead for Miguel, I think.
Yeah, but even then, like that's really great for Marlins, because obviously you're expecting they get a lot of extra food, right? It's 8 sheep. 8 times 5 is what, 400 extra food?
Yeah.
From the sheep. So it's a lot of food. So to have an uptime that's 1 minute pasture is very impressive.
For sure. By the way, it seems like Villese is going to be walling towards the edge of the map up in the north as well, so it's going to be completely safe over there as well, and he's going to be protecting that gold as you were saying earlier as well.
Yep, that's the correct play. I think this fight though is really good for Villese. I think Miguel definitely made a mistake in moving out that early. I think now he's just queuing up archers at home. Now it becomes tricky, because one of the good things about having a faster cast stage time is that you can get the crossbow faster, right? And then you force reactions. But now that this army's going down, you don't really have that anymore.
So what would you like to see then from Miguel right now? Let's assume that he loses 2 or 3 more archers over here, and maybe he's gonna be left on like 2 archers to upgrade to crossbows. He's going for the crossman upgrade. Okay, he's going to save the majority of these, but he doesn't have too many. He's got 5. He's got also some in the north. Never mind. So I guess he's going to have a decent amount. Do you want to see a switch into cavalry to complement the army, or it seems like he's going for siege? Do you like this?
I don't. I honestly, I have no idea what I'm witnessing. I'm seeing a stable from Villese, and he got +1 defense.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Villese is in danger of just losing the game immediately. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, he should first of all he should never leave this gold open. That's a huge mistake. And I have no idea. I would never build a stable here. I honestly have no idea what the thinking behind that is. Maybe he expects elite scum or something from Miguel, but he already sees the army, right? He saw a lot of archers.
Yeah.
Okay, now Villese is going for elite scum. Honestly, I think Miguel is really far ahead. Like, he's already got the answer to the elite scum, right? He's already got crossbowmen. Sorry, not crossbowmen. He's already got a siege workshop up. If you're in Villese's position, how do you deal with the siege workshop units?
Well, I feel like you have to go for your own defensive siege workshop, but then you also need to close this up, because if you don't, then it's going to be much easier for Miguel to keep on putting pressure. So I would like for him to send at the very least one villager and just try to go for the walls towards the north. Oh, and you know what? Probably some walls towards the south as well, and just connect to the edge of the map, as opposed to remain like circled by palisades down south, because the archers can still come in, like Miguel sending these.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, this Mangonel. That was extremely disappointing.
Yeah. He got it. He got it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is how finely balanced this game could be. Like, if he pays proper attention there, like he could just go and win the game if he micros properly, with that Mangonel. But because he didn't, like, it becomes more difficult. I still think Miguel is in a really good position. Another TC coming out, that's really nice. Do you think ballistics could be an option for Miguel?
What I love about that TC as well is that he's going to be protecting this stone, because we saw the 4-1 was on the hill, right? And that was going to be a tricky one to collect, so now he's going to have access to stone for sure. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be sending a few extra villagers, so we might get enough resources for a castle drop at some point. If he can keep the control around the map with his military, then he might be able to increase pressure with a 4 castle eventually.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I think one thing I would have liked to see maybe is a university in ballistics from Miguel, because they get the bonus that they research it faster and the university is cheaper. So it definitely is a good synergy with what he's going for. But
he's going for it.
Oh, he is perfect. Is he? Oh yeah, he is perfect. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Honestly, I love the way Miguel has played this game. I think he's played this game masterfully.
Well, yeah, almost losing the second round. That would have been a little bit less than masterful, but he managed to get it.
I would have deleted the... he didn't...
Yeah, I think so too. He was not going to have enough time to get the second shot.
Yeah. I think the one thing I'm going to criticize from Miguel, who has played strategically a perfect game, I think, is that I actually, if he had micro a little bit better, I think he could just go and win the game, because he has the better army with the Mangonel and the crossbows. And if he was paying more attention to his Mangonels, I think as soon as he takes one good fight, or if there's one engagement that Villese can't take, he can just completely deny his gold. And at that point, what do you do, right? If you are in Villese's position.
He's got one goal in the back, he's going for the DC over there. But that would have been very good anyway, because if he denied the goal over there and he kept Villese open, he could have kept on putting the pressure up. And I don't think at that point in time Villese had the second TC, so maybe Miguel was going to be able to go straight to the back.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I honestly, I think I struggle to see how Villese comes back into this game.
Miguel's got to be careful, man. Over here, there's something inside the stable. Miguel doesn't know what it is, or how many units there are, rather.
Yeah, it's just one neither, right? I mean,
but the Mangonel.
Oh.
It's again.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Same thing. Oh, he lost it.
Oh, that's a huge shot though. Yeah.
That is good. Yeah. But that's the third Mangonel he loses, I think.
Yeah, but I think that one paid for itself with that shot.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. But the problem now, okay, this is where the game falls apart, because Villese has missed his timing. So remember when we were talking about the Civ matchup on paper, and we were saying, okay, Talos are really strong when they hit that early cast stage timing, right?
Yeah.
But somehow Miguel has played this so well that he was the one hitting the early cast stage timing, right? And now you're in Vilese's position where the kind of you're already behind, you're already on the back foot, but time is running out because the follow-up is actually really strong for Malians with Farimba Camel.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it's like even if you do even the game out, you're still not winning in early imp. So I just think this game was played so well by Miguel. I think I just struggle to see a win condition now for Villese.
I absolutely agree. I think Villese finds himself in that position you never want to find yourself in, you know, in which you're going to be relying on your opponent messing something up like royally. If Miguel plays this right, he should be taking this. He's got more villagers, he's got more military, so his economy is stronger and his pressure around the map is much stronger as well. So it's basically paperwork for Miguel to take this game. And yeah, Villese is going to be banking on Miguel making mistakes, unfortunately, and I don't know, man. Miguel's been playing this one really well. I just don't see why he would start playing badly right now.
Yeah, I think honestly that this game comes quite a lot down to the early game and the approach that Villese took with his walling. I think the drush was completely ineffectual, and it didn't even buy him enough time to get good walls. So, for example, he left that gold open, which was a huge mistake in my opinion, and he didn't wall to the edge of the map on the south. And I think if he'd have walled properly, like for example, if Viper was playing in Vilese's position right now, I think we would have seen him do the walls that I suggested earlier on and get more map control. And if he manages to get those up, then you don't see Miguel running into the gold and sitting on the gold, right? Like you don't see Miguel raiding at the south with small groups of units being really annoying, and it just kind of ends up stabilizing and making your game a lot easier. But because he went for the drush and he gave up the map control like that, he wasn't able to get the good walls, and it kind of snowballed quite a bit. And Miguel now on 40 C. This is just Miguel is playing this game so well. I cannot tell you. This is. It's basically close to perfect gameplay, honestly. Like the economic expansion, like getting the relics, the entire strategy, the micromanagement of small groups of units. Like this is really exceptional play from Miguel.
Yeah, he's got the 4TC right now. He's gonna be getting some food from sheep over there for sure. He's making a transition to cavalry archers, but yeah, once again, even that's going to be insufficient. I feel like Miguel, once again, definitely on the lead. He's getting very close to have enough resources to click up to the Imperial Age. As a matter of fact, he can already do it. He only needs to balance his economy with the market.
I'm not quite sure what he's doing with that army though. I praise him and he just AFK'd his army.
Yeah, Miguel's got the market. There we go. It seems like he bought some stone. Oh, he's gonna be getting a defensive castle. Interesting. Defensive. I think if he played his cards better over there, he was going to be able to clean up all of Vilese's units, and he might have been able to go for a forward castle, even.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you need a forward castle, honestly. I think it's definitely possible, but I think if we look now, he's dropping those stables. Do you think we're going to see Cavalier or Camel from Miguel?
I think he's got to go for camels. I think he's got to go for camels. We have well, it's going to be cheaper for him overall, and with Farimba, it's also going to be a very decent raid unit. And of course, against the cavalry archer, if you can close the gap, then they just obliterate them.
Yeah, that's true, but I think it could be either. I think you have arguments for either.
Yeah, that's true.
We know that Villese isn't up.
Yeah,
and we also know that yeah, it's tricky because camels are so much worse at raiding, right? Whereas if you have Cavalier and you get them into the economy, they can do a lot more damage, especially in costly. Against a card stage player. Whereas camels kind of are less good at that, but I think they are the better.
No, you're correct.
Overall.
You're correct. My push for camels over there would be basically dependent on getting Farimba, which is not going to come free. So Cavalier would be significantly more straightforward. It would be much more useful from the get-go. That's true.
Yeah, I think there's definitely arguments for both. I mean, we'll see. I guess we'll see. Yeah. Okay. So Miguel is going for Cavalier and Elite Scum. I'm not sure about the Elite Scum, honestly.
Oh, that was
that's a great
shot.
Mangano shot.
Yeah. Okay, good micro over there for Villese. Still ended up losing a bunch of the skirmishers, and now these are going to be only cavalry archers. Hey, we have a lot of stables over here, and he's going for Cavalier. He's just going to be going for it.
Yep, definitely understandable. One thing I would say though is Miguel has given Villese quite a bit of time. I mean, Villese shouldn't really be able to go Imperial Age right now. um, I think losing that army for free with that Mangadal was a
Hmm.
big mistake. Um, and it kind of let off the pressure quite a bit. I think
Yeah.
he should have been able to get more value from that army, I think.
I completely agree. The one thing that's been kind of a shortcoming for Miguel this game has been unit control, and unfortunately for him anyway, that allows Villese to catch up. You can see the villager counts about the same, and even though Miguel's trying to put some pressure up over here, you can see Villese will get the walls up just in time, which means that Miguel's Cavalier are doing nothing. That will give Villese enough time to get to the Imperial Age and try to put something together against Miguel already. So it feels it's not, but it feels almost as if Miguel had just given up the lead that he had until this game.
I don't think he's given it up. I still think he's ahead, but he's given the trouble is he's given Villese an opportunity, and I think that's not something that I would have been expecting to say like 3 or 4 minutes ago. It felt like Miguel just had overwhelming momentum, but now it's kind of like, well, you know, Villese gets a lot of important upgrades for free, right? He gets Parthian for free. Like when he gets Bracer Chemistry, then it starts to become quite tricky, right? It's not as simple as it may have been. But we're now seeing the switch into camels, which I like. This was the power spike we were talking about. Miguel has still done a really good job with the relics. I would like to him take more. I think, despite Villese been giving some time, I still think Miguel is but this Cavager mass is kind of scary. Yeah, no, but I think you were right. Honestly, I think he should have opened Camel straight away. I think seeing how this game is developing, I think you were completely right with that decision. Honestly.
Yeah, but I'm not really sure. I mean, well, I guess at that point we didn't really have too many cavalry archers. Now the numbers are starting to get overwhelming for sure. Well, maybe that would work better.
Because look now, we're taking a horrible fight on that hero. Why are we taking this fight, Miguel?
It's going back. Do you think he'll be able to get the castle down though?
No, he didn't. I don't think
He's got 2 traps, yeah, but he's just got them deployed in different places.
And now Miguel is trickling unison. I don't know why he's doing that. He just needs. All you need to do right now is you get 4 traps, and you build up like 30 or 40 camels, and then you take one good fight, right? When you think you can take a good fight, you take it. You don't trickle the units in because now this is where Villese starts getting opportunities, right? It's low numbers against massive units, when really you can't really engage like that against Hallis.
Miguel did manage to sneak a few camels in though, and he's got Farimba right now already, so these are going to be quite effective. They are still obviously not quite as strong as Knights though for Pierce armor.
Oh, that's such a nice trade. Yeah, I think Villese overstepped a little bit there. I think he needed to just play by that castle. Yeah, honestly, I think despite all these things, Miguel is looking dominant in this game. I think the score is kind of lying. If you look at the map control, if you look to the left of Villese's base, he's taking both the stone and the gold there. And Villese has 0 relics, right? So it's just... I think I can't see a way Villese wins this game. That's what I will say. And now we're getting braided. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's just run out of the gold, I think, or did he already run out of the gold that he had in the back? But he was about to run out of the gold he had next to the castle as well, so now he doesn't have access to anything.
Yep, and remember as well, like with Tada's recent changes, they have not Tada, sorry, with Marlin's recent changes, they have way more gold than you expect. And GG scored. So
there you go.
Yeah, wow.
1-0 for Miguel. You know what's really interesting as well? Like, there is also room for improvement for Miguel because he could have performed even better this game. That makes me kind of hopeful that the next matches are going to be even stronger.
Yeah, I think he could have definitely performed better, but I think this was a masterful game from Miguel. Honestly, I think the way he played this game was strategically it was perfect. I think I can't see a way he would improve that. It was just like you said, some small things like maybe some micro issues. But his approach to the game was so clever and so intelligent. Like he managed to he knew exactly when he was weak, and he knew exactly when Villese was strong, and he used the market in a way that nullified that weakness. and he actually turned it into an advantage, which is crazy. And then he played for his superior late game timing, which is from camels. So yeah, really, really well played from Miguel.
Absolutely. In the end, then, for achievements, Miguel gets a close to 6 to 5, actually a little bit higher than 6 to 5 KD ratio, which is pretty good. I think was fairly even trades for the most part, so getting a better KD ratio is going to be better for you, of course. I think they were trading for similarly priced units for the most part. Army high, significantly higher for Miguel. He ended up producing 155 units. Ended up on 47 at the end of the game, not quite as low as Villese. Villese ended up on 37 at the end of the game, but of course Miguel's army was significantly more threatening as well. He had a trebuchets over there as well, protected by camels, so it was going to be able to keep on pushing. Check that. Gold income as well for Miguel, fantastic. 800 from Relic Gold, and then he managed to collect about 4,490 extra gold compared to Villese, and I think that was just from his base gold, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I remember. I can't remember what. I think it's 40% more gold you get with Malians as well.
30% more gold.
30%. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So quite a lot, quite a big difference there.
Absolutely. Much faster uptimes throughout the ages as well. Or through the ages rather. We have faster feudal castle and imperial age times there for Miguel, and he was able to take advantage of these pretty well, especially in the castle age. Once he got crossbows and he actually beat Villese to the castle age, he was able to put pressure around the gold over there, as you were talking about Villese having the gold exposed over there. That allowed Miguel to get a very nice lead, or to expand his already existing lead in the castle age onward. So well played.
Yeah, really well played. Also, I think Villese definitely made some pretty big mistakes that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stable was a really big mistake. I don't know. I still don't understand why he built that. And yeah, leaving that right side open was a big mistake. But I'm honestly more impressed about how Miguel played. Honestly, it was, like I said, pretty close to perfect strategically.
Let's see what civilizations are left then, and try to come up with what the next matchup is gonna be. Vilese's got, okay, let's see. We saw Tatars over here, and Miguel used Malians, right? So that leaves us on Lithuanians, Mayans, Sicilians, Burgundians, and Indians for Vilese. I'm really curious about Burgundians. Well, Miguel on the other hand.
Yeah. Sorry, what do you think about them? Do you think
about Burgundians?
Yeah, how strong do you think they are?
Well, I think they can be pretty strong, but mostly because of the eco upgrades and access to Cavalier. The thing with the Cavalier upgrade in the Castle Age is that because you're gonna get a 50% discount on stable upgrades, you pay 150 food and 150 gold, and you get 2 extra attacks. So it's like getting forging and iron casting, and then you also get 20 extra HP. So even though they do not get bloodlines, it's like getting 3 upgrades for 300 resources, which is just insane. And to boot, of course, you also get much stronger economy if you get the eco upgrades 1 inch earlier as well, which is just like the cherry on top, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. I think the only problem I see with that civilization is they're quite weak early feudal age because it does take a little bit of time to get going with the economy.
Yeah.
And moreover, they do have some weaknesses. For example, they're quite weak against civs that have a high damage, like mobile range unit. So for example, I think against a civ like Huns or Berbers, where we could be seeing camel archers or cav archers come out, I think they're not going to do it as well. But then I think they could be a tricky civ for maybe, I don't know, maybe probably tricky for Khmer to deal with. Yeah, honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing if he does pick them, what he goes for. Because I think they're definitely one where you need a prepared strategy for them to be viable.
Absolutely. I feel like they probably shine more on more safe maps where they are going to have a fairly like an easy early game. They're not going to be under any pressure because it does take some time to get the eco going. Without the eco upgrades 1 inch earlier, they're not really going to have any other like economy bonus for the early games. That is true. They're not going to be quite as good as, you know, like say Mongols or some of the other civilizations. We just get an insane early game for sure.
Yeah, they're in the game, by the way.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, and they've actually been in game for like 2 minutes, it seems.
Yeah.
Are you in there already?
I am, yeah, I'm 2 minutes in, yeah.
Okay. I'm jumping into it.
Yeah, we
They're
have a
just going to
very
fast
interesting
forward.
civ matchup here.
Mm-hmm.
We have Berbers against Indians. Um, I think these are two of the King of the Desert special civs. Like, I think this is the only Arabia version we're really going to see them be this good on. Both civs, so for example, Indians obviously have amazing camels, amazing economy. And Berbers have amazing knights and camels.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best economy, but still, good enough. Um, Definitely an interesting matchup, though. Do you favor a particular civ here? Do you have any
I would favor
uh,
Indians personally.
interesting? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I think yes, I would, and no, I wouldn't, because if Berber do crossbow with cheap camel,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how you deal with that as an Indian player. And I think that's the big weakness to Indians as a civ,
Mm-hmm.
is that combination of units is really hard for them to deal with. And it
Yeah.
seems kind of counterintuitive, but because they don't have knights, they can't actually deal with the crossbows. Um, and if you have a good civ, like for example, Tatars are great at this, Berbers are great at doing that because the camels are cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
it can actually be really hard to deal with. But I think you are right in the Indian economy is really strong, so
Yeah.
they should be, at a slight advantage.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's gonna be all by time in about this, the same as with some of the other civilization matchups that we saw as well. Like Indians are gonna be saving resources from the get go because of the cheaper villagers as well. And for the
yeah.
crossbows, well, I guess technically they do get one extra pierce armor on the camels. Do you think that's very impactful against crossbows? Enough so to maybe just justify going for full camels against maybe cheaper camels from Berbers and crossbows?
I think not. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's, it's a very difficult one because I think it's definitely a finely balanced one, but I think from experience that combination, if you have enough camels to meet shield for your crossbows, they just end up doing too much damage.
Right.
For that one pierce armor to make enough of a difference. Um,
Right.
One thing I would say though is I think it's definitely a skill matchup. I think it's so close between the civs that most of the times the better player will win. I don't think we'll see a player necessarily
Mm-hmm.
win as a civ win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that does make sense for sure. Um, yeah, if I favor Indians, it's not going to be by a huge margin, of course. If Miguel manages to get to the castle age, for instance, at a comparable time or even earlier as well with a decent economy, it's going to be so much better for him, much cheaper units, of course, and even if he gets much faster compared to Villese, for instance, he will be able to just go for knights, which are going to be so much more effective at raiding from the get-go. And then he can make a switch to camels, of course, later, but for sure. What do you think about map generation for the players?
I think Villese is a really difficult map. I think Miguel's is much better. It's much easier to wall, whereas Villese has to wall a very, very long section on the right-hand side, which I don't think will be possible.
All right.
I guess he does have options to wall maybe to the woodline on the right and then to the woodline in the corner. I just think, yeah, I would definitely much prefer Miguel's map. Personally, what do you think?
Let me check. I'm not really sure myself because what I like about Vilese's map is that if he goes for walls towards the TC from the woodland he's got up north, and then he just goes for some walls towards the TC as well. Maybe down south. No, actually doesn't need to go. Oh, maybe yeah. On the left hand side woodland, if he goes for wall towards the TC and then from the barracks towards the edge of the map, though that's going to be a massive wall. He will be able to secure the two woodlands on the back. Maybe that's not something he does early on, but it's something you could potentially look for in later on in the game. I'm not really sure Miguel would be able to protect a woodline even in the future quite like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
But that's just for wood, of course. For the rest, it's actually looking pretty good for Miguel. I do like his goal on the back over there. We have a secondary goal on the back only for Villese, for instance.
yeah, and we have two back woodlines from Miguel as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's true too.
Villese is taking the forward one. One thing I find interesting is that Miguel is going for a pretty popular build against Men at Arms, which is this really fast archer timing, which I do like. I think that is I think against Men at Arms, if you wall your woodlands in like this and then go archers, what ends up happening is that you just have better economy, and you have the same army if you play correctly. Especially with a civ like Indians, I think already Villese is kind of, he's probably a bit worried, right? Because you kind of see Miguel with 2 lumber camps, so already the better economy. Villese
Yeah.
only having 1 lumber camp. I just don't see where the damage is going to come from, you know?
Yeah, if we had a house, maybe instead of palisades, maybe the Minotaurs would be able to break through, but now that's going to be too difficult to get past, so it should be a fairly safe economy for Miguel. That's a fair point. He's got the archers coming out already, and he's moving forward. He's got Spearman, a Scout, the archers moving in. And Miguel, yeah, Miguel's not prepared to... Oh, he's got an archer range, actually. Never mind.
Interestingly enough, Miguel's moving forward with his Scout and a Spearman. And Miguel actually built 2 Spearmen. I don't... Okay, that's one thing I do find strange. I don't know why you're investing in Spearman as Miguel here. I guess to protect the archer going forward in case the Scout comes back. But 2 Spearmen is quite a big investment.
Yeah,
You watch
I'm
that
not
now.
sure. What was he expecting? How common is it to see like Minotaurs into Scouts?
Very uncommon. I think there's only 1 civ that can really do that, maybe 2, and that's Bulgarians. But
Right.
it's just not. It's not a great build, honestly. It's not great in your economy, and it's you basically have to catch your opponent off guard, otherwise it just doesn't work.
So yeah, I'm not really sure either. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense to expect Scouts over here. So those spearmen are obviously just going to get picked up by the archers. Now he's got only 1 left, and he's got 2 archers. Meanwhile, Villese has got 2 archers. He's got 2 more on the way. He's got fletching though. Miguel does not have fletching just yet.
Yeah, I think that's one. What I'm surprised. Okay, I'm surprised that Miguel moved out. Honestly, I think that was a mistake. I think really when you go archers, you just want to play a little bit more passively and secure map control, get your walls down, and then you move out, right? I think the whole point is that you're already ahead if you deal with the man-at-arms quickly, because you haven't invested the 180 or 280 food into the man-at-arms, right? Whereas your opponent has, so you should just be at an economic advantage. So there's no need to really force the issue, and by forcing the issue, he's kind of putting himself under some pressure.
Let's see. Yeah, the archers are gonna have to be careful. Villese has got the skirmisher over there as well. He's got the hill too. Oh, he's going for the... Oh, God.
What is that? That's Song vibes from game 3.
I think that might have been a misclick. Maybe he tried to target the unit and he clicked by it.
Yeah, but I think that is a huge mistake. And again, another potentially game-losing mistake right there. Because the thing is now, like, if Villese just moves to that hill by the gold and the wood, we're gonna see villages fall. Like, we're gonna see the village have to become idle. Wow, that spearman actually killed the scout. Nice.
Yeah. So now we have only 5 villagers on foot for Miguel. So he won't be able to keep on going for skirms and villagers at the same time. So what is he going to go? Keep on going for archers? That could be a good chance for Villese as he's bringing more skirmishers into the mix.
I think Miguel has done a relatively decent job of stabilizing after that misclick, but really nice micro from Villese there. Yeah, this is starting to get really rough. If Villese snipes that 1 weak archer, this could potentially snowball out of control.
What time are you at in the game?
16:37.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Hey, he's getting the house. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Oh, Villese is actually house himself, or he was for a moment over there. Never mind.
I think, yeah. So, interesting enough, Villese is getting wheelbarrows so early in these games. I'm not sure what exactly that's about. Maybe he's just... Oh, he's housed. You said he was housed, of course, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting housed, getting wheelbarrow. And yeah, honestly, this game has been super clinical. The unit control has just been so much better for Villese. Like now, Miguel's forced to build a really bad tower. If you're Miguel, how do you pull yourself back into the game?
If I'm Miguel, I'm dead 5 minutes ago. If I had Miguel's skills, yeah. Well, the tower is the first step, but the thing is, once again over here, I'm not the biggest fan of preempted towers. With this military control that Villese got over here, it's unlikely he'll send a forward villager, but he could potentially keep on denying those resources anyway. I think actually even with the amount of units he's got right now, He could potentially sit underneath the tower. Oh no, Miguel's got more archers over here. I'm not really sure actually. I feel like he's doing the right things over here. I think with that tower, that's going to be enough for him to stabilize. He has done a good job, and to come back into this game, he's gonna try to go up to the castle edge faster by the looks of it. I'm really sure into what.
Yeah, I mean he's done some market magic. I think Villese should still be up first, but he will be competitive with the uptime, which is important.
What do you think
now
he
the question
goes
is
for?
what.
Oh well, if Villese gets to the castle edge faster, Miguel kind of has to go for camels, doesn't he?
Oh, sorry, say that again.
If Villese gets to the castle edge faster, Miguel kind of has to go for camels.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, we're seeing the stable. So this is something that Miguel has done to me quite a few times, where he keeps his archer mass alive and then he goes for camel crossbowman. And I think this is a great play, but I just think probably doesn't have the eco for it right now. Interestingly enough, we're seeing a stable switch for Villese, so he's going to be going for camels himself. Do you think we'll see camel skirmisher for Villese?
I think so. It'd be too expensive to go for camels cavalry archers, and then against Berbers that'd be kind of bad. So I think it makes sense. Yeah, skirmishers.
Okay. It's kind of a strange. This is one of the problems with Indians, right? Is that your army comp isn't always, because you don't have knights. It's not always that clean. Like, you know, it never really feels great to build camels into crossbows. Honestly, I'm impressed with Miguel to be still alive in this game. It felt like he took a lot of damage. I think he still is behind, but he's not. To me, he's not dead yet. You know, he's not out of the game. I think he still has a lot of potential to come back into the game, especially with the cheaper camels that he's going to be building.
He's got scaled barred armor right now. Miguel's got scaled barred armor. He's got bloodlines. And very soon he'll be in the castle age. He's got a group of archers going around Vilese's woodland, so he might be able to get a villager or two over here.
Yeah, I think he's gonna wait for probably cross the moon and Balkan, right?
He should be. He should be. Yeah, so he can one-shot the villagers.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not that fond of the elite skirm play. You know. Oh wow, Villese. I think Villese. He knows something's wrong. He hasn't seen the crossbows for a long time, so he sends all the skirms back. That is so smart, actually.
Yeah.
That's such great game awareness. To know that you haven't seen your opponent's army for a long time, which means they're probably counterattacking you, and to know to send the army back is really, really intelligent.
Okay, he's going after those lumberjacks. He's gonna be able to get a single villager. He pushes the villas away, but he gets only one. Yeah, I think you see the walls that Villese has gone for over here. On the back of his face, I would probably have preferred for him to try and work his way towards the edge of the map down south so he could have secured both those woodlands, but now he's taking a few losses, and yeah, that's how 3 villagers, how many? 3 villagers I think he's lost.
Yeah, 3 villagers. And this is what I was talking about in game 1, right? It just feels like Villese, to be fair, this map is a lot more difficult than the first game to wall properly. So I think we can give him a little bit of slack for that reason. But it's one of those things, right? This is one of the reasons why Viper is so good at these maps, is because he would wall to the edge. I think I guess this situation is a bit more difficult. This is a good fight for Villese.
Yeah. He's got the reinforcements coming in.
Yeah, the problem now is that, and this is kind of why it's a tricky matchup or can be a tricky matchup for Indians, is that you're building the same strength camels, but one person's camels is just much cheaper. So it's tricky to deal with, right?
Yeah.
If you are the Indian, like, how do you go about, you know, how do you deal with your opponent just having more because the camels are cheaper, do you think?
I think because camels are not going to be the strongest at pushing, I would probably prefer for him to go for a second TC. He's going for the second TC right now. I think I would probably have him play defensive with a few camels. If he gets pushed by siege, probably go for his own defensive siege, but try to cheap out an army a little bit, play defensive, and try to get ahead in villager count to get a stronger economy and kind of offset for that discount that Miguel gets.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's probably a good approach. But we're going to see a big fight here, and I think this is a crushing fight if Miguel wants to take this. Not only is this cost efficient, but he's got +2 armor now, so those skirms. Oh, but that's a really nice heal bonus.
Oh, the
We
monk.
have the
Good
monk
job.
coming in.
I think he's getting it. He's got to be getting it. Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get that eventually.
There we go. It's gonna be 11 camels for Miguel versus 10 for Villese, plus all the skirmishers over here on the back. I think it goes in favor of Miguel just because of the extra armor. He's going back.
Yeah,
Though.
I would
He
like
cannot
to
take
see.
it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I would like to see forging coming in quite soon.
Oh, you're
Well-
correct. We have forging for Villese, so that kind of offsets for chain barded armor.
Yeah, so like the camels when they fight each other even strength, but the thing is against the skirms if they ever fight, like
Against
having
range units, yeah.
Yeah, and because camel naturally have a low base attack, like the more damage you give them is a higher percentage damage increase. So it is really important to get something like forging. One thing I do like though, I think Miguel knows that in the long term he's probably not in a great spot, not being able to build TCs. So he's not gonna bother. He's just gonna go one TC all in.
Yeah.
And I think this, I don't know about you, but I think this really suits Berbers, honestly.
I think so, yeah.
On a map like this.
As well, you really want to take advantage of that discount and get to the numbers. The thing that I say about Villese going for extra TCs and try to cheap out the military and just go for defensive play. The one risk, of course, is that Miguel gets too overwhelming numbers and then he's not gonna be able to defend. And Miguel's trying to get there. He's got already 21 camels. He's doing a really good job maximizing the value of the units by healing them up with the monks as well. And very soon we're gonna see a bunch of magnets coming out and a lot of pressure against Villese. So we'll see Vilese's got what it takes to hold on. Military count a little bit higher for Villese, but a lot of skirmishers in there.
Yeah, but that's even moving out as well. This is is he gonna get? These conversions could be huge. And we don't see any.
Yeah.
But the problem for Villese is that gold is exposed. Okay, Villese is actually just gonna push the TC on that hill. I think that also makes a lot of sense. There are two ways you can really pressure this map, right? Oh, pikeman now. Okay, that's a really smart switch.
Yeah.
If you are Miguel though, how do you respond if you see the pikeman?
Well, you could probably go for camel archers, I guess, if you had the stone to go for a castle. He's starting to take some of it. I don't think he's got any crossbows left, right? So I guess he could go for it, but with the skirmishers already out. Well, I guess that wouldn't really make sense for camel archers if you had the skirmishers out already, right? But
Yeah,
with the castle, that would probably be different compared to just going for crossbows, because the castle would provide you protection if you went for the castle forward, I guess.
Yeah, I think camel archers is probably too far in the future for him to go for. I was just what I was alluding to is that he could just switch into 4 knights, and then he already has the camel, so he can already deal with the camels from his opponent. But if he adds knights, then he can just take overwhelming fights, right? If he's fighting with 10 knights, 20 camels, even if they're a pikeman, especially if they have a Mangala, I still think you can take good trades.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's gotta be really
Okay,
careful. With Vilese's monks over here, because that can change everything. He got the mangonel!
Yep, he got redemption, yeah.
Good job. Oh, and he even managed to get the monk over there with the mangonel. Good job.
This is such a crazy game. Honestly, I think Villese has done a great job. I think he's got all the tools he needs to hold now. And Miguel is kind of running out of time to do damage. Like, he's got pikemen, monks. He's got everything he needs, really.
Oh, with 18 extra villagers, his economy is about 33% stronger right now, so this engagement goes in favor of Villese, or he manages to hold on even if he loses the units, but he's able to hold on. It's really pretty good for him. His economy is going to start paying off very soon.
Yeah, and this is a horrible fight. You never want to fight in a choke point when you have a numbers advantage. Yeah, and now, and this, I think, honestly, this was a really, really, really nice hold from Villese. He made a lot of really good decisions this game.
Alright, so now he's trying to get the surround going over here, where we see more conversions on the way from Villese as well, and overall numbers are looking still much better for Miguel. He's got 19, 16 camels still versus only 7, but the pikemen are coming in, man. What a great defense for Villeseville.
Yeah, and I think the problem is, right, it has to be a crushing fight because he is just down 30 villagers. So if you're only breaking even, then it's not good enough, right? Because your entire game plan is around winning that fight.
Yeah, it just revolves around numbers, and right now numbers are really severely lacking for Miguel, only on 25 military units versus 39, many of which hard counter. Miguel's current units, right? Like he's still going heavily into camels only, so the pikemen over here are going to shine.
Yep.
Not to mention the monks, of course. And Villese pushing out over here is not what you're expecting from Vilese's position a few minutes ago, but he managed to put himself in a much better spot now.
Yeah, I mean, he just made all the right moves. It was a great move by him to get redemption and to go for pikes. And already having skirms means that you can't build range units anyway. So he has an uncounterable army and a Villese. So just really nice awareness and really nice decision making from Villese.
Good job. So, assuming that Villese takes this one, I think that was mostly because of the extra TCs and getting ahead in economy. What would you say Berbers could have done differently to take the match against Indians playing this strategy from Villese?
I think the biggest problem in this game was simply that Miguel was already behind going to Castle Age. So we couldn't really see the full strength of Berbers. I think the biggest strength of Berbers is when you have 3TC versus 3TC, and the fact of the matter is you can just produce more units than your opponent because units are just cheaper. So you can kind of end up taking overwhelming fights before maybe like mid to late Castle Age and just overwhelm your opponent with equal economy. But I think this game, Villese just played the early game too well, and Miguel was already too far behind. The game just was so tricky. And now we're seeing a forward castle on Imperial Age from Villese, which is very impressive. That's a really quick uptime considering the pressure he was under. And that castle will be pretty difficult for Miguel to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna see trebuchets come out as well, for sure. So this castle from Miguel will go down, and then he's gonna be left with no fortifications anymore, just the TCs, which will not be quite as strong, of course. Good job. Really well played from Villese over here. It's certainly showing his level. And that's what you were saying as well. Like, the matchup is not going to be that one-sided for any particular civilization. It's just a better player. Whoever plays best over here is going to be coming on top, and Villese had a great performance.
Yeah, exactly. And that one big moment of miss micro really hurt Miguel. Just made his game so difficult. And Villese, I think all game has just had better army control, taking better trades. Doing more with the resources that he does have. I think that's just led to a pretty substantial lead. And I think Miguel will resign when Villese gets in because he just has nothing against trebuchets and how it is.
I'm curious about what you said earlier, that on triple TC in military production, Berbers can produce units quite strong because of the discount. How much of a difference there is in military production when you account for the cheaper villagers from Indians? In the Castle Age, it's 20% cheaper, I believe, right? Already?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think it's kind of why the Civ matchup is so even, right? Because on the one hand, you have the cheaper units. If you are Berbers, but then you also have GG scored. Yeah, but you also have the cheaper villagers. So I think it is quite even, but I think, for example, late Castle Age, if you're expanding to like 5 or 6 stables, I think that is really strong, and it's hard to just deal with the raw unit numbers that you have.
I do agree.
If you get there.
Agree, for sure. I think probably early on, as you're getting the 30C app, and if you want to go for military over there, that might be a little bit too expensive, wouldn't it? For both civilizations, of course, early on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then what do we get over here? Take a look at that KD for Villese. How good is that? Especially trading like skirmishers, pikemen for camels, monks, and siege. I think Miguel was pushing with Magnus even, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty darn decent. For sure.
And also 8 conversions for Villese.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. 8 to 2 as well, so a 4 to 1 conversion ratio over there. That's so much value. Especially with a stronger economy, this is basically a dream. This is what you want to get.
Yep.
Yeah, much stronger economy for Villese in the end. He did have like a much stronger army. A much stronger economy, so it doesn't make sense. Managed to collect more of everything except for gold and stone. And Miguel collected more gold. Yeah, it does make sense for he was trying to go for full military. I don't see anything remarkable over here in the stats. Do you see anything?
Well, the food collection is the most important thing because food is the hardest resource to collect. It takes like the most time to gather it. So having 4,000 more food is is really substantial.
It is. It is. Early on, of course, he had to pay off for the villagers and all the investment he needed to get the farms up and stuff, but it does pay off eventually big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, only 10 extra villagers for Villese. Interesting. 100 to 90.
Yeah, I mean, Miguel did do a good job of rebooting back in, but it's more about the timing
Yeah,
when you get
exactly.
the villagers. So obviously, Villese had 30 more villagers
For the
at a certain
majority
point in
of
the
the
game.
game.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Good job. Let's go back. I think next game is gonna be beginning soon, but yeah, it's not here just yet. Let me cross the civilizations out. I think I will go to the bathroom real quick though, so I'm gonna be
yep,
back
I
in one
think I'll do the
second.
same as well.
All right. Okay. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I'm back.
Okay, I'm back as well.
Oh, nice. It seems like game number 3 is here already.
Aha, nice. They're jumping straight into the games, it seems.
Yes. Can you find it? Do you want the game ID?
Yeah, can I have the game ID? I can't find it.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, what do we get over here? We have the civilizations, the leftover civilizations over there. Or the remaining civilizations leftover sounds so bad. The remaining civilizations for Villese and Miguel. And what is the matchup over here? What do we have for civs? Wait! It doesn't seem like it's here. It seems like they're in the lobby still. Aren't they?
Yeah, I think Villese is just waiting for Miguel to join the lobby.
I think they updated the game in such a way that if you try to spectate a game that hasn't started just yet, you're still put in this waiting screen. Because before I had some instances in the past where I tried to spectate the match, and it just bumps me into it just dumps me, sorry, into the lobby instead. And this is much better.
And yeah, I agree.
Let's see. So if the match hasn't begun just yet, I'm just going to let this one in the wait screen. Let's take a look at the civilizations then. What do we have? Sicilians, Mayans for Villese, Lithuanians, and Burgundians. And what do we get for Miguel?
Well, Miguel still has, yeah, his two first picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Berbers were, I think this is where I would personally rate Berbers is towards the end, which is why I was surprised when Nico picked them first. I think that's a more natural place to pick Berbers, like kind of fifth or sixth.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are strong, but I think they do have some pretty obvious weaknesses as a civ. Do you think we'll see something really strong from Miguel now, like maybe a Viking or an Aztec?
Uh, I feel like he doesn't need to go for it just yet. I think like he can. Oh, you know what? He's got two strong civilizations. Well, he's got more than two strong civilizations, but he's got two very strong civilizations. I think maybe going for one over here would actually make sense. I was going to say he can maybe just wait for one more game, but if he loses against Villese, then he's got only one more game, right? Mm.
Yeah.
However, I guess if he burns through a weaker civilization for game number 3, and let's assume that he loses, he would have two very strong civilizations for game number 4 and 5. So I guess that could potentially still be good, but Vilesa's got... I'm still very much wondering what he's gonna do, if he's gonna do anything with Burgundians, but he's got Lithuanians and he's got Mayans, which can be super strong as well. In what situation do you think Villese could go for Lithuanians? Or for Sicilians, for instance? Like, what do you think the potential remaining matchups would be like if Miguel went for a weaker civilization for game number 3?
I think I don't think so. Sorry, do you mean like if Villese went for Sicilians, or what do you mean? Sorry.
If Miguel went for, let's say, Khmer, for instance, or the Hans maybe, what do you think Villese would go for, and what do you think we will have left for games 4 and 5? Instead of Miguel going for like Vikings or Aztecs right away.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think honestly, Huns seem really good here. For Villese, for Miguel, sorry. I think all of the civs that Villese has are not particularly strong against Huns. For the simple reason that I don't think Sicilians can really deal with full cav archers and like in mid castle age. Lithuanians are kind of similar. Maybe they can get a strong enough early game to beat Huns.
Right.
And mines, while they are seen as quite good against Huns, on maps that are this open, like Tarkans can be really strong. So I think honestly Huns would be a good pick, but then it's whether or not you're confident enough. If you pick Huns into Lithuanians, for example, that could be quite a difficult early game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do agree. So let's assume that he goes for Huns in game number 3. And Villese, let's say that he gets a strong early game with Lithuanians. He's able to snowball the game from there on, and he takes game number 3. That will leave us with Vikings, Aztecs, and Khmer for Miguel. In that situation, do you think there is a civilization matchup combination in which we're going to see Miguel actually make use of Khmer, or do you think it's going to be just Viking and Aztecs for games 4 and 5 potentially?
I mean, Khmer aren't bad here. I think Khmer have fine matchups against all of these civs. I don't know. I just think Khmer are kind of, especially in current balance, they're just a solid civ. They're nothing too exceptional. Whereas I think Viking, Aztec, and Huns all give you really clear and obvious ways to win. Whereas Khmer, you just kind of play your normal game and then you win by outplaying. Whereas if you have a civ like Huns, if you get a good matchup, that can just snowball into a victory. Because you know just the cheap cav archers and all the faster producing stables are just really strong.
All right. So Villese, let's see, he could potentially have Mayans still, Sicilians, Burgundians. What do you think good matchups would be for Villese to go for against potentially Vikings or Aztecs in games number 4 and 5 potentially?
Well, I think Lithuanians is good against Vikings, so I think that's one option. I think Mayans as well is winnable. Mayans, you can beat Vikings and Aztecs with Mayans. I think it's probably slightly favored for Aztecs. But I think Mayan against Viking is probably quite even. So I think I'd understand if Villese wanted to pick Mayans, but I think the civ matchups are quite even. But it's definitely tricky because I think it's at this point I think it's a little bit less about civs and it's more about just who can get in the game and find the right approach, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. By the way, I'm just taking a look at the lobby over here, the waiting screen, and you can see the civilization from Villese. I'm not really sure if that's a bug, because I don't think you're supposed to. I think it should be hidden pick, right?
It is, but for some reason the specs can see what people are picking. So
yeah, okay. So we're not going to mention the civilization Villese is picking over here. We still need to wait for Miguel to join, but yeah, I'm still very curious about Villese with Burgundians. With the remaining civilizations, what could we see Burgundians? do? Where will we see Burgundians? Game number 3, it seems like he's got better choices. I feel like I like Lithuanians and Mayans better. I feel like they're more straightforward. I feel like Burgundians.
Yeah,
is...
honestly,
Mhm.
I don't think we'll see them. If I'm being
Yeah.
totally honest. I think we will only see them if it goes to game 5, and then I still think Sicilians are probably more likely.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting though that he's picked it before Indians, and he's actually used Indians, so it's not going to be the civilization he was thinking of having left after the series, I imagine. But I'm really sure what he was expecting. Maybe he was expecting Miguel to go for something different, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Miguel, I do not see him. I'm not really sure if this is bugged or not. I'm gonna try to find it manually.
I'm starting to get a similar feeling. Is this bugged? I'm gonna check it member stream. Are they
I
in
don't
game?
see the game. Oh, okay. So Christina was saying in Discord might be a little latency issue. We'll start as soon as it's resolved. So it seems like man was having some issues, maybe. Or oh no. I think the players were having latency issues, maybe. We're working on finding a solution still, he says. All right. Makes sense. Gonna have to wait a little bit more then. But yeah, we know what civilizations we have left. Let's talk about our home maps for each player. Yeah, I always love to mess around with that in the arena tournaments. I thought the home maps for each player. Well, you know that this Arabia version actually is, even though it seems fairly, what do you call it, homogeneous, it actually has a lot of variation in the script. I don't know if you read the description of the map in the tournament announcement.
No, I didn't know.
There are actually quite a few things that can change between map generations. The idea is to keep the maps fair for both players, but you have several randomizations so that, for instance, one map might have only one wool line per player versus 3 or 4, so that's not going to be consistent. Some maps are going to be much easier to wall than others. And then there is also the height of the hills, the amount of elevation, and the amount of hills around the map. It also changes. So some maps are going to be have a lot more hills than others. Although I feel like even the minimum amount of hills in the script still allows for a very hilly map, though. I don't think we have seen anything close to mostly flat, have we?
No. Okay, we're in the game now.
Oh, okay. Did it start for you automatically?
Yeah, it start. Oh my.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in. But it's paused, I think.
Oh, this is not the civilization that was showing earlier.
No, it's not. And the score is bugged. It says they're both on 0 score. I don't know if this is correct.
No, I don't think so. It's working for me.
Okay, I will just quit and load it again then.
Okay.
Because it's not working.
So for the civilizations this time around, this is game number 3, right? Yeah. So for the civilizations over here, we have Villese on the left hand side. He's playing with He's what? He's playing with Burgundians.
Yeah.
I saw the civilization when I was loading into the game, but for whatever reason, I got surprised now. And Miguel, he's got Hans, man. Oh, okay, that's gonna be very interesting to see. Hans, of course, this very predominant Arabia civilization, you know, back in the day it used to dominate on Arabia. It used to be the matchup. Han wars on Arabia all day, baby. That's not the case anymore, but it's still a very strong civilization. Burgundians, on the other hand, we talked about them already. Yeah, what do you think about this matchup? Did he manage to get into the game first off?
Yeah, I'm in the game and I'm caught up now. I think this is just a bad matchup for Burgundians, honestly. I think well, they just I mean the trouble is, like, cav archers, 4-range cav archers, you can't really go for cavalier because it's just too strong, and you're forced to go for a kind of awkward army comp of, you know, like playing defensive with scum and, you know, maybe just full scum and boom. I'll be interested to see what approach Villese takes as well, because I think I guess there are some, it is winnable in some situations. I think in order to win, you have to, like I said, play defensive with skirms, and then
Right.
get to imp at a reasonable time and just overwhelm a paladin. I think that's probably your win condition. But I think it's not easy to get there, and the game plan for Huns is just so much easier. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it seems significantly more straightforward. So map generation, on the other hand, are you noticing anything particular?
Well, Villese has quite an awkward map. I think both players, in terms of maps, are kind of similarly awkward. The one thing I could see being an issue is the fact that Villese, his woods, they're not terrible, but I think I could see them both being idled by cab archers in the mid game. Whereas Miguel, his map's not great, but he's not really going to be. He's probably not going to be worrying about skirms, or not skirms, sorry, but ranged units quite as much. We're actually seeing a really early barracks from Miguel, so we're going for the pre-mode rush with Huns. Very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think about
that? Well, that's what is that going to be, Drush? It's gotta be fast castle, right?
I doubt we're gonna see a fast castle. I think his map is too weak.
Too open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it'd be pretty expensive. If he wanted fast castle, he would probably need like north of 30, 31, 32 villagers if he wants to go for militias and full walls as well. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe militias, Drush flush into cavalry archers.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how this makes sense in the larger picture, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Drush in any case is always a solid opening. Oh, but Villese is going to scout that straight away. Perfect.
Good
so
job.
I think this becomes quite tricky now, because what Villese will do is he'll just wall exactly like he's doing, do some small walls, and the Drush will do no damage. And then, then it's a little bit frustrating if you're Miguel, because what's the follow up of this? I guess you go flush. Yeah, honestly, I'm just super excited to see what Villese has got prepared for us, because I just don't. Personally, I don't see the strength of Burgundians here, but I get he probably has some kind of prepared strategy, right?
Yeah, I think this is also a situation very similar to what we saw in the previous set, where if Miguel fails to do any damage over here, or if he ends up losing the militias or whatever, right? Like Villese won't really need much of an advantage from the civilization itself, because Miguel kind of spends the resources going for militias and wouldn't be able to do anything, right? So that allows Villese to kind of catch up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think, so what are we seeing? So we're seeing, despite the 2 militia, we're still seeing a really quick uptime for Miguel. He's only got, I think he's like 5 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Which isn't so bad. So we're seeing, so Villese is doing archers? Oh, Villese is doing man-at-arms, what the hell?
Man-at-arms archers, yeah. I have no idea what the plan is over here. He's gonna be fully walled though very soon. Like he's almost completely walled. He's just open next to the TC, but that it's going to be suicidal for Miguel to go underneath it. So it's looking good. Villese has been able to hold on over here. Miguel spent the resources into the militias, and so far he's not been able to get those back. Those have not paid off. And now he's going for walls, and he's going for walls with 3 villagers as well, 4 villagers. So this is going to be quite pricey as well. This is, this allows Villese to kind of stay head to head with Miguel's civilization.
Yeah, I think Miguel's in big trouble. Oh no, I think he was, but he's sending the militia the wrong way now, I think. Or is he? If he sends the militia to the right hand side, then I think Miguel is fine. But if he sends them to the left where it's open, I think Miguel is in big trouble.
He's going to the left, man. He's going to the left. He knows already. He's got the scout on the right hand side. He knows he won't be able to deny that, so he's going to the left.
That's really smart, and I think this is so bad for Miguel. He spent so, obviously, especially with the nerf to walls as well. He's invested so much economy into these walls, and they're not going to do anything. They're going to be close to useless.
Yeah, basically.
I don't think Miguel expects the men-at-arms, honestly. I think he's expecting scouts. We're building a spearman. He's got no scouts info. Yeah, and
so Miguel is not going for the flush. It's just Drush into standard fuel each time and then just try to go to the castle ASAP. But without the walls, he's not gonna be able to, man. And that could be the first villager going down. That could be first blood already.
Yep. And now these men-at-arms will be able to wreak havoc in the base. And do we see any archers coming forward? Okay, no archers coming forward, so it's not disastrous just yet.
He's trying to bait those militias into the TC. Now he can send it forward. He's got the second archer on the way as well inside the range.
Okay, so he's managed to react quite well. Is that? Oh, are we gonna lose a villain on the berries? Probably not, right?
Nah, I don't think so. That was still pretty good. Of course, he ends up pushing all the villagers away over there. Now he's kind of forcing extra farms.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think no matter what, this pressure has already been really good for Villese. He's killed a villager and he's out of the berries and all that. But I think we have to say fair play to Miguel because he managed to. I mean, this could have been really bad. There was a lot of technical quick walls in there, like especially on hills. It could have been a lot worse. It's very easy to mess up quick walling when everything's on a hill.
Well, it seems like Miguel's gonna be able to finish the walls though eventually, unless Villese manages to get the archers in on time, but I think they are too far away.
Yeah, no, I think we should be seeing Miguel getting walled. And I think Miguel has done a good enough job of holding, but I think the other problem as well is that if we look on the flip side, Villese already has Bowsaw. He's already getting wheelbarrow.
Wow.
Like, his eco is gonna be really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Question is, how is he gonna use it, right?
And not only that, if you take a look and capture it, you right click on the panel and go to gather economy, you can see that it's been more efficient for Miguel. He's had his villagers collecting resources 77% of the time since the game started versus 70% only for Miguel. So that's stronger economy upgrades with more gathering time as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a good situation if you're Villese. The question is, how do you capitalize on it? Because the problem is that Huns do have the better army composition in Castle Age. So despite having the better economy, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to win the game for that. Because if you can't trade well against the army, then it doesn't matter if you have more resources because you're going to be taking inefficient trades anyway. Do you think we'll see crossbows from Villese?
From Villese, he's got 5 archers. I think so. Yeah, I think we're probably gonna see a bunch of archers. You know, once he goes up to the castle, he can go for crosses, and then he can add knights into the mix, and knights and crosses can be super strong. That's something you can go from scratch if you get to the castle age with no archers, but if you get a good mass going before you go out, then it can be fantastic.
Yeah, makes sense.
Miguel, on the other hand, though, he's got a good amount of archers over here, so it seems to me... Do you think it's going to be crossbows into cavalry archers, or is he going to go also for crossbows and knights?
I think we'll see cav archers from Miguel.
I agree as well. If he went for knights, he would have the same army composition as Villese, but Vilese's potential will be higher because of the cavalier. So I would certainly prefer cavalry archers. They can scale so much better. They can be so dangerous once you get the numbers.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, we're seeing double range. So we are. I think we're gonna see elite scam from Villese. I think that's
interesting.
What he will go for.
Yeah, fair point. He's not going for any extra archers. So skirms and knights, maybe cavalier.
I don't think we'll even see cavalier until a decent way into the game. What I think we'll see is, and this is something that's really common at the high level, is skirm and just 3TC monk. So essentially, if you do that, it's very hard, especially if you're going for cab archers, to actually find any damage. You're kind of forced to go for like forward siege, and that's already quite expensive. When cab archers are not a cheap unit, like, it's a lot of gold and it's a lot of wood, and you need a lot of upgrades for them. You have to spend 175 wood on a stable. You need to get ballistic summering, and all of these like cost a lot of economy, so that you can, if you play it correctly, just kind of boom behind TCs and build a big economic lead. I think that's what we'll see, but you don't know. It's quite an aggressive map, right?
Yeah, I do agree. Both players are going out to the castle age right now, and it's not a very big difference. I think it's only a few seconds faster. Yeah, it's only like 4 seconds faster for Miguel. So what do they go for? We're gonna find out very soon. We can already see the buildings, of course. We see the stable coming out right now for Villese.
We do see the stable, yeah.
Yeah. And
I
Miguel, on
find
the
that
other
interesting.
hand, sorry, he's got the second archer range coming up. I'm not really sure if he's gonna be going for a third one or not, but he's got the second one on the way. Go on.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not sure about the stable. I think Villese knows what he's doing, obviously more than I do, but I just think you're already going to be committing to elite scam. It's quite a big investment to go Cavalier as well, especially when you have no upgrades for them anyway. I guess he just got +1 armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I will say is that Villese is doing such a good job of idling all these woodlines. I did not think we'd get to this position where like Villese just has like full map control over the woodlines.
By the way, Vilese's got one less villager compared to Miguel right now, but so far he's been able to collect 1,400 extra resources.
That's crazy. That's the power of Burgundians, isn't it? If you get off to a good start.
Actually, it's gone higher right now. 1,600 extra resources from 8,700 to 10,400 for Villese.
Yeah, man. That's why usually you see players go for. That's why Drush isn't like a 2 military Drush isn't really that common. Like either you see like men at arms or some kind of feudal pressure, right? Because if you like investing into both or early feudal age is quite a lot of resources. So usually you can get a nice men at arms timing on them. But Drush is definitely more greedy.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, all these walls that Miguel has gone for won't really protect the wool lines. He's got only all the wool lines are exposed, right? So these skirmishes could potentially push those villages away. He's gonna be relying on these mountains, but then with the knights coming in from Villese, it's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, exactly. I think. Yeah, I mean the problem is Miguel's economy is just so. Because he had so much idle time in his woodlines, right? I mean, he just has no wood. Like he's only got 2 ranges, which is pretty poor.
He's going for the third one right now.
Yeah, and the problem here is that if you look at Vilese's base, 30C's coming up already. So
yeah,
like he's already down economically, is Miguel, and it shouldn't get worse. And this Mangonel's gonna go down as well now.
Oh man, not again. This happened to Miguel in game number 1. The macro of siege weapons is just not there. It's an expensive loss that you cannot afford to take when you're already behind the economy like this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, the only way that Miguel wins this game is by snowballing the military, right? So by losing the Mangonel for free, it's just that's your win condition, right? I mean, if you give it away, yeah, it's kind of the opposite of game 1. I was praising game 1 for like Miguel was kind of knowing when he was strong, and making plays on that, and here he didn't really identify that. Like maybe the best way to win the game was by paying attention to that Mangonel and the army. Oh, this Mangonel could get a nice shot though.
That's a good one. That's great.
But the Cav mass is falling behind that. I think that was honestly worth it for Villese.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah, right there. There you go, man. Burgundians, new meta.
Wow, that was such a clinical game. I mean, that was wow, that was very impressive from Villese, honestly. Yeah, I guess Burgundians are strong. I was wrong. Burgundians are very strong. I mean, the early game did go perfectly though.
Yeah, for sure. Miguel with the early drash, unable to do anything, allowed Villese to kind of, keep up. Otherwise, it probably would have been a little bit rougher for Villese. What do you think Miguel probably should have gone a little more standard? Maybe just standard fuel age into scouts, or maybe Minotaurs and potentially into cavalry archers, something other than the militias.
I think it's difficult, honestly. I think one of the problems was Miguel's map was horrible. And because he spent so much time investing in the walls, and especially now that they're more expensive, we look at how many palisades he built. He built a lot of palisades. I think he was just behind economically, and then when he loses that villager, it may not seem like that much losing one villager, but when you spend like 200 wood and loads of villager idle time walling everything that you did, and then you also lose a villager and have more idle time, I think it kind of just snowball a little bit. So I think it was partly that early damage from the men at arms that really solidified the large advantage for Villese.
Yeah. I was taking a look at that, and there were 57 palisades at 3 wood apiece. I think that's like 171 if I'm not mistaken. But it's not only the cost of the walls, but also the villagers. I think he was
Yep.
walling with like 4 villagers, right? So that's a lot of extra resources he's not getting in.
Yeah, and that was all for nothing because the men at arms got in
Mm-hmm.
anyway. And
Yeah,
then he had all his woodlines idle. So it was like I said, it was kind of worst case scenario. I think the only way that I see Miguel um performing better that game is if he wars the man at arms out and then he can take more control and not have his woodlines idled. But
yeah.
because the man at arms did the damage that they did, it just kind of made everything so much worse.
All right, there we go. That's it for game
Yeah.
number 3. There was not really a whole lot to take a look at. Miguel ended up only losing like 6 villagers through the game, which is not really a whole lot, but Villese was just so far ahead in economy. He did manage to collect a lot of extra resources. Anything else you
Yep.
want to point out that the achievements?
No, I think that's kind of everything.
Okay. Let's go back then and cross the civilizations out because now we're gonna have game number 4 starting very soon. It's gonna be match point already, and well, Miguel still has Vikings, he still has Aztecs.
Yeah,
There we
so what
go.
do we see? I think we probably see Aztecs here, right?
It could be. I think I do prefer Aztecs over Vikings a little bit, especially now the Vikings got nerfed a little bit. But hey, we have Aztecs, right? Do you think we are gonna see Jaguars this game if we get Aztecs? They got buffed.
Well, how did I get buffed? What was their buff?
Oh man, you need to read the patch. let me let me
Yeah,
go to
have
the
a look.
website. I don't remember. I think they got their HP. I think it went up by like 5, and then also attack. If I'm not mistaken, I think also Elite Jaguar is cheaper as well. Many of these buffs. Oh, what is this? This is not the correct one. Okay, there we go. Many of the buffs are also in discounts for the elite upgrades of infantry unique units. So, okay. So no, for Aztecs it's only HP. It goes up from 50 to, oh wow, that's actually a lot. From 50 to 65 base HP for Jaguar Warriors, for standard Jaguar Warriors. So it's an increase of 30% extra HP.
That's huge, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we'll see Jaguars, to be honest. I think still that unit
Yeah.
is not very good. Um, it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Jaguars, but I just think even with more HP, they're still. The problem with any unique unit that is an infantry unit is that you have to build a castle to build it.
hmm
Um,
hmm
and if you remember the game that Song Song played, like building a castle early castle stage is a lot of the times, unless your unit is just amazing, it can just
Yeah.
lose the game. So yeah, that is.
I think game
But
number
yeah,
4 should be here, by the way.
nice, that's nice. What do you think potentially? I mean, this probably won't happen. We'll probably see like Aztecs against Mayans. But what do you think about Sicilians against Aztecs? Is that not a really good matchup for Sicilians?
I think it should be. Yeah, I mean, you get your unique unit much more accessible compared to other civilizations because of the access to them with dungeons already. I think it could be pretty good. Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't matter because the players have gone with Vikings for Miguel and Lithuanians for Velas. Um,
So,
this was a matchup we were talking about, right?
sorry, no, it's not cheaper elite, just more HP, 30% extra HP. By the way, there's another change. I'm very curious what you think about it, but Burmese now got changed to the Manipur Cavalry instead of being +6 or 6 bonus damage against buildings from Mangolai. Come on, Arambai. Sorry. Now it's +5 attack versus archers.
Yeah, I did see that one. I think it'll make them better late game against some archer civs if they get Hussar and Cavalry. But I'm not really sure. I think I have to play that one in game to really see how strong that is.
Yeah, I think it might change the dynamic quite a bit because like I rarely see people actually using Manipur Cavalry to take buildings down with their Rambai. I remember when the civilization first came out, it was super strong, but then they nerfed the Rambai to the ground, and now they get
Yeah.
bonus damage against archers. You know, which was the shortcoming for Burmese. Like they usually really used to struggle against archer civilizations. I'm very curious how that one's going to go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, like I said, they do struggle against archer civs, so like it'll give them an option at least. I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. I think you have to test it first to see how it actually plays out.
Right,
A lot of people are like writing it up already. I think it's one of those ones where until we see it in action, it's kind of hard to judge it that much.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. So back into this game, what do you think about the matchup?
well, I think this is a good matchup for Lithuanians because just having the fastest skirms. Yeah, it's a one that's been played quite a bit historically, and having the fastest skirms is really nice. Because Vikings are kind of a one-trick civ, right? The knights are so bad that you basically they're gonna go for archers, right?
Yeah.
In which case you have the skirms and you can always just outrun them and just run them down, even though they have better economy. Especially on a map that is this open, it can be hard for Vikings to really use their eco bonus properly.
Yeah, I think so too. One thing that Vikings are really good at as well usually is you just play standard and you manage to go up to the Imperialist so much faster and get into Arbalist can snowball the game so much. But now they don't get thumb rings, so it's not going to be quite as smooth of a castle each even. So that might not be quite in cards over here, especially against Lithuanians, as you were saying with the faster moving skirmishers. We could potentially actually see Villese putting a lot of pressure against Miguel and not letting him get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. I still think Vikings are going to be really strong. It's just how strong, it's hard to say, really. I think Miguel's map as well is really open. This is a horrible map, especially to play with Vikings. I mean, the thing is, Vikings, I still think they're going to be really strong. It's just like, it may be a little bit more difficult to get, like you said, to that kind of really strong timing of the. I guess it's tricky because not having thumb ring, it's a big deal, but then they're still going to be able to get those crazy Imperial Age times, right? So it's kind of a trade-off. But yeah, so we're seeing men at arms from Villese.
There we go. Wow, that actually flew by. We're already going out to the field age, dude. I have no idea what happened. He's going for militia. It's gonna be men at arms. Into what? And what is Miguel going to do against that?
I think we're gonna see Viking scouts.
Viking scouts?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Yeah, he's getting the barracks up right now. He should be getting this one up on time to go for the stable already. That's pretty good. Miguel managed, by the way, under pressure to keep on pushing the ostrich as well. So his economy is gonna be pretty good still.
Yeah, that was a really nice move by him. Honestly, I think I like this because if you think about it, like what were we saying the weakness was of Vikings, right? It was the lack of mobility. It was the fact that the skirms can do so well against you. But if you start immediately with a stable, right, then you're kind of putting yourself in a great economic position to build cavalry. So you naturally have not only a lot of food because scouts gives you a lot of farms, but you immediately have the option to counter skirms, so I think this is actually quite a smart opening, and I actually quite like it.
Yeah.
Like it will depend on how much damage Villese can do though with his early archers, because that is one thing that the Lithuanians are good at, right? Which is hitting that fast feudal age time.
It does feel like a very big brain over here from Miguel. This goes to show, once again, there's one thing that I usually say sometimes as well. It's usually not about the civilization that you should be going for one unit or another, but it's usually about adapting to what your opponent's going to go for as well, even if it's not what is going to constitute your optimal civilization army composition, so to say. This works for Miguel, and I think there's a good chance it might. That's exactly how to execute on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think you make a good point. I think there's something that it can be hard for people to understand that a lot of the decisions you make are simply based on things that you scout. So if you look at the real top players, and I know I keep talking about Viper, but it's really because he's kind of like the godfather of strategy. Yeah, he's just even now. I think his recent tournament win shows like from a fundamental. Like fundamentally, he understands how RTS works. I think a lot of the way he plays is about reacting. So like if you scout something, it's all about like finding the right reaction, right? But I still think that being said, going scouts is still kind of a nice fundamental play, because like for the reasons I said. But one tricky thing here is whether or not he can, get away with going scouts without getting punished, because this is a lot of pressure right now on his wood line. And now there's an archer in there. It's going to be hard to save those villagers.
Yeah. Dingy's got a good point over there as well. Lithuanian faster spearman, and you can see Villese has got 3 spearmen already. He scouted the stable instantly, so he reacted to it, and he was able to prevent any villagers from going down on the wood line in the back.
Yep, that's a good point. And does Villese have? No, Villese doesn't have. Oh, this is gonna be rough.
Oh man!
One villager goes down immediately.
And he did all the things right as well. He went for the stable on the back so they wouldn't be scouted easily, but got kind of unlucky over there. And now Villese is scouting the first and only villager so far in the game. He's pushed all the villagers away from wood as well.
Yeah, I think it's just this is one of the reasons that I don't really like going for scouts, is because I just think they offer so little in these situations, in these maps. I would much rather just open straight archers and then add scouts if my opponent's committing fully to skirms.
Right.
I think the problem here was that I guess Miguel's map was poor. He had a bad map, and at the same time, his opponent has a really good early feudal age, right? So you're kind of already in a bad situation. I do think the scouts could have worked though, but maybe this map was just insurmountable, And I think it's one of those things that, like we were saying, you have to react constantly, and maybe this reaction was bad. Like, he should maybe know that his map is this bad, and then not, because the map is so bad, he probably shouldn't go for the scouts.
Yeah,
this is looking really rough.
This is super bad for Miguel. He's fighting uphill right now, loses the villager, he loses the scout as well. We have Minotaurs over here as well, so he can keep on fighting him against the skirmishers, and he can keep the archers alive to push the villagers away. That's the second time that Villese is pushing villagers away from wood so far.
Yeah, and I think simply this is game over, unfortunately.
I think
there's
so
not
too.
really much more to say. Yeah, it's 26 bills against 34, and the army's not even dead, and we have no wood. So, well played by Villese. Really, really well played.
Yeah.
Hit his timing perfectly. Punished the greed, which is easier said than done. And I guess we see that the scouts were not the play.
Game number 1 was so good for Miguel. It really set me up to expect the full series actually. But Villese really kicked it up a notch in the next few games, and he's been able to. Well, it didn't really seem too close, in games number 2 and 3, I think. And game number 4 is looking fairly dominant for Villese as well. That's very interesting to see.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Song series, right, where we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
There was some potential there, but it was just ultimately in these kind of maps, like, even if you get a game or two, like, the better player will always shine through. And I think we're seeing here, like, despite Miguel having some nice ideas, I think Villese is just simply, he's just too good. Like, Villese is such a good player. There's a reason he's number 1 on the ladder. There's a reason he's always in the top 8 of tournaments. Like, he's just unbelievably consistent, and over best of 5, it's just really hard to win enough games to actually defeat him.
Absolutely, man. And I'm having a really good time covering KOTD, even the qualifiers. I had a really good time, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to be, because all the recent S-tier tournaments, they have had map pools going back to only Arabia. Felt kind of weird at first, but actually the games have been really high level, and they have been very different from each other, so it's been super entertaining. I'm very happy how it's going.
Yeah. No, it's been super. I think it'll only get better. Like, when the round of 16 comes, and every match is going to be, extremely high skill players. I mean, it already is, but it'll be very close. I think some of the matchups, they're not mismatched, but it's definitely, like, for example, if you have first seed against 22nd, then it's it is going to be slightly one-sided.
Yeah, but then again, at that level, you're still expecting players to be able to take games from each other still. For sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I need to be right back in 1 minute. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
Be back in a second.
All right. I think Hallis over here might miss the end of the game, but I'm not really sure, because Miguel obviously is not gonna want to call the GG right away. This is his last chance. If he loses this game, then Villese moves on and Miguel gets knocked out of the tournament. But Villese, if he does not manage to seal this game in the Field Age, already he's gonna have enough resources to go up to the Castle Age. And then that's probably going to be GG from Miguel. If it's not, well, Villese will be able to start spamming knights. He'll be able to come forward, keep putting the pressure up, maybe Siege Workshop, whatever. Or honestly, you can even just go for extra TCs and try to get a hit in eco as well. But yeah, you know, the longer the game goes, the more Vikings kind of lose on the edge that they get by getting free wheelbarrow, free handcard, because your opponent's gonna be able to catch up for those upgrades. They're gonna be able to, especially if Villese goes out to the castle edge faster, which he's doing, he's gonna be able to also catch up in villager count or get ahead in villager count in such a way that Miguel's free wheelbarrow and handcard won't really make much of a difference. Now I can see that Miguel can also go up to the castle edge. It's gonna be very close to it. Actually, he's got the resources. I think he was missing a... No, he was not missing a building. But he's going out to the castle edge right now. He probably had to queue up. Anyway, that's a very nice lead for Villese so far. It's gonna be, let's see. Yeah, about 47 faster. 47 seconds faster for Villese. That should be enough already. Even if he does not want to commit to full pressure early in the castle edge to get even a few knights out and start getting some villagers from Miguel. Even if he decides to go for a second TC on the back or something. Probably around here between the goal and the wood. I was just about to say that Miguel's economy balance is terrible as he bought 500 food. yeah. But he's able to go up. He'll be able to survive a little bit longer. I think this is once again a very similar situation to what we saw in game number 1, but opposite, where Miguel's kind of in a spot where he's gonna be relying on some mistakes to happen from Villese, which, if we are to judge Villese's gameplay from games number 2, 3, and so far into game number 4, I don't think that's gonna be happening. So yeah, there we go. Castle Edge is here for Villese. Miguel does not call the GG. He's very close from the Castle Edge. He calls it actually. And there we go, guys. Miguel down to Villese. And Doug getting knocked out of the tournament while Villese is gonna be moving on to the round 16 already with the final score of 3-1. So in the end, Hallis ended up missing the end of the game, which is unfortunate. But well played. Well played. Let's go and take a look at the achievements then.
Real quick. Sorry about that, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Well, it's over.
Yeah, I'm not totally surprised. It was kind of GG when I left, but
for sure. Yeah. Miguel actually managed to even click out to the castle edge though, not too far behind from Villese, but he called it as soon as Villese hit it faster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, throughout this game, Villese managed to get 9 villagers from Miguel. Miguel produced 45 villagers. He ended up on 36 in the end. So that's a lot of damage. How much is that? It's like a fifth, right? It's a fifth. It's 20% of Miguel's economy that Villese was able to kill.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, much better KD, of course.